Welcome to the Hidden Wealth Coins. Prepare yourself for a journey that may shake your heart, your breath, and your understanding of value forever. Because the coins you're about to witness are not ordinary pieces of metal, they are destiny-shifting relics capable of turning a single moment into a lifetime of fortune. These old U.S. pennies hide unimaginable worth, explosive auction records, and life-changing power that can transform an ordinary person into a millionaire overnight. First up, brace yourself, because what you are about to hear may ignite a storm inside your chest, a feeling so powerful, so electrifying, that for a moment you may forget you're listening to a story about a simple penny. But the truth is, the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a pulse, a heartbeat, a whisper of destiny sealed inside a piece of copper that has survived nearly a century. When people speak about unimaginable wealth, they imagine jackpots, gemstones, auction floors filled with billionaires. But sometimes, just sometimes, the universe hides life-changing fortune inside the smallest things, the quietest things, things we overlook every single day. And nothing embodies that mystery more than the 1935 penny, a coin that has shocked collectors, shattered expectations, and rewritten the meaning of value when discovered in extraordinary condition. Imagine it, a coin worth 1 cent back then, a simple copper companion in the pockets of workers, farmers, soldiers, mothers, and dreamers living through the 1930s. A time when every penny mattered, when every cent was a lifeline, when people held on to hope the same way they held on to their change, tightly, desperately, believing better days would come. This penny was touched by that era. It breathed that history. It carried that struggle. And today, it carries a power so unexpected, so breathtaking, that collectors around the world have paid $3,000, $12,000, even over $40,000 for certain high-grade examples at major auctions. And in the rarest, most miraculous conditions, those near-impossible, flawless, untouched states, the value of a single 1935 penny has climbed even higher, pushing estimates into six-figure territory for specific high-grade registry pieces. That is not rumor. That is not exaggeration. That is the shocking reality of a coin whose true value reveals itself only to those who look close enough. But here's where the story becomes emotionally staggering. Because every time a 1935 penny surfaces in magnificent preservation, it reminds the world of something powerful, that fortune can enter your life quietly, unexpectedly, disguised as something ordinary. A small copper coin, hidden inside an old drawer, a rusting tin box, a forgotten jar in the corner of a cabinet, might be worth more than a car, more than a year's salary, even more than a house if it possesses the crisp details, the glowing luster, the untouched surfaces that collectors crave with a hunger you can feel from across the auction floor. Just imagine your breath shaking as you wipe dust off a coin, thinking it is still just pocket change, only for an expert to look at it with widening eyes and tell you, "Do you understand what you're holding? This could be worth tens of thousands." But the emotional power of the 1935 penny goes even deeper. Because this coin lived through change, through struggle, through the hands of people who had no idea the copper they were spending to feed their families, or keep their lights on, or buy a loaf of bread, could someday become a symbol of unimaginable worth. It's almost poetic. Something once used for survival now has the power to change someone's life in a completely different way. Something once ordinary now carries extraordinary potential. Something simple now shines with a destiny so unbelievable, it feels like a miracle carved into metal. And the most stunning fact is this: the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny is one of those rare coins where condition is everything. In circulated form, yes, it may not look special. It may seem common. But in mint state grades, those MS-65, MS-66, MS-67 red blazing beauties, the value doesn't just rise, it explodes. Auction houses have witnessed jaws dropping as collectors battled, bid after bid, pushing the price into extraordinary heights. A sparkling, beautifully preserved 1935 penny once reached nearly $70,000 because of its unbelievable visual perfection, a level of quality so pure it looked like it had just been minted yesterday. Think about that. A penny worth 1 cent multiplied into tens of thousands. All because time failed to take its toll on it. All because someone, somewhere, unknowingly protected a future fortune. This is why the 1935 penny carries a mysterious force, an emotional pull that collectors and treasure seekers feel deep in their bones. It whispers a question: what if you have one of these? What if your life is one discovery away from changing forever? What if the universe hid a miracle inside your home, waiting for the moment you finally look closely enough to find it? There is a reason people obsess over old jars filled with coins. There is a reason families keep boxes of change passed down from grandparents. There is a reason metal detectors sweep fields, yards, abandoned houses, and forgotten roadsides. Because inside those everyday places, a life-changing treasure may be waiting, silent, patient, breathtaking. The 1935 penny especially triggers that spark because so many exist, yet only a microscopic percentage have survived in the ultra-high grades that bring explosive value. This makes the hunt emotional, dramatic, addictive. You might hold 20 of them, 50 of them, a whole handful, and yet only one might hold the perfection that unlocks its true worth. That's the beauty and the torment of coin collecting. That's the magic and the mystery of this penny. So when you look at a 1935 Lincoln wheat cent, remember this: you're not just holding a coin. You're holding history. You're holding potential. You're holding the spirit of a generation. And, if destiny favors you, you might even be holding a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Some collectors have turned a single 1935 penny into $25,000, $40,000, $70,000, and in rare registry quality stakes, the estimates stretch into hundreds of thousands, even pushing the ceiling of possibility toward the million-dollar fantasy that keeps treasure hunters awake at night. Yes, the chances are tiny, but not zero. And sometimes, all it takes is one miracle coin to change your world forever. Next up, prepare your heart, steady your breath, and let your imagination expand beyond the edges of reality, because the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny carries a legend so overwhelming, so spine-tingling, that even the most experienced collectors have felt their voices tremble when speaking about it. This is not just a coin. This is a symbol of the unexpected. A whisper from history. A doorway to fortune. And for those who understand its secrets, the 1944 penny has proven itself capable of sparking bidding wars, breaking records, and changing the destiny of anyone fortunate enough to hold the right one. Imagine this moment. You're looking through old change, maybe from a drawer your grandfather once filled, or from a jar that has been sitting untouched for decades. You're expecting nothing more than ordinary cents, ordinary memories, ordinary pieces of metal that meant something only in the past. But suddenly, your fingers brush across a coin that feels different, looks different, shines differently. A 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. To anyone else, it's just another old cent. But to those who know its truth, this coin carries a thunderstorm of possibility, because hidden among the tens of millions minted that year, a tiny handful were struck not in bronze, but in steel. And those few steel strikes, those rare, breathtaking era coins, today have values so explosive they have become legends whispered with awe. $100, 000, $250, 000, $350, 000, and in some cases, estimates climbing toward $1 million for the purest, most immaculate survivors. But even the regular 1944 bronze penny, in absolutely flawless condition, has shocked collectors with values that leap far beyond expectation. High-grade reds, those blazing, fire-bright surfaces untouched by time, have reached $5,000, $15,000, and even over $40,000, simply because finding perfect brilliance from that era is nearly impossible. And that is where the emotional power of this coin begins. The 1944 penny lives in two worlds at once, one common, one unbelievably rare, and both hold the potential to change someone's fortune overnight. But to truly understand the magic of this coin, you must step into the era that shaped it. The year is 1944. The world is rising from the shadow of war. Factories are roaring. Lives are rebuilding. Hope is fragile but growing. And in the middle of that turbulent year, the U.S. Mint made a decision: return to bronze cents after producing steel cents in 1943 for the war effort. But in the noise, the chaos, the intensity of wartime production, a few steel planchets, that is, the metal discs used to mint the 1943 coins, were accidentally fed into the presses. And from that accident, from that small moment unseen by all, one of the most valuable pennies in American history was born. It's almost poetic. A mistake created a miracle. A tiny error carved a window of opportunity worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And today, collectors chase these 1944 steel pennies like they are hidden fragments of destiny scattered across time. They search attics. They search garages. They search old military boxes, wartime baggage, dusty tool chests, and metal jars sealed away decades ago. Because somewhere out there, waiting for the right eyes to find it, a 1944 steel cent could still be hiding. And the moment someone discovers it, their life could transform instantly. But even if your 1944 penny is bronze, the emotional power remains. Because this coin is from a time when every cent mattered deeply. Soldiers sent pennies home to their families. Children saved them in hopes of building a brighter future. Workers kept them as reminders of better days ahead. And today, surviving pennies from that year, especially the ones preserved with stunning brilliance, carry the very heartbeat of that era. When you hold a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, you are holding history that survived war, hope that survived struggle, and metal that survived time itself. Collectors know this. They feel it. They compete fiercely for the best examples, those breathtaking Ms.66 and Ms.67 reds that glow with a fire untouched by the decades. When these perfect survivors hit the auction floor, the atmosphere changes. You can sense tension in the room. You can feel hearts pounding. You can hear breaths being held. Because bidders know what they're fighting for is not just a coin, but an opportunity to own something nearly impossible. Something that should not exist in that condition. Something that brings not just monetary value, but emotional power, historical weight, and bragging rights that echo across the entire numismatic world. And that is why the 1944 penny has become a symbol of destiny. Because it teaches a lesson that feels almost unbelievable. Sometimes, the smallest object can carry the biggest miracle. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coin can hide extraordinary value. Sometimes, the universe places a fortune in your hands without you even knowing it. And in that sense, the 1944 penny is more than a collectible. It is hope. It is mystery. It is a reminder that your life can change in one unexpected moment, from one unexpected discovery, in one unexpected place. So if you ever see a 1944 penny, don't ignore it. Don't underestimate it. Don't think it's just another cent. Look closely. Test it. Examine it. Feel its edges. Because whether it's the ultra-rare steel strike that could bring $200,000 to $500,000 or more, or the flawless bronze version that could earn $10,000 to $40,000, you might be holding a treasure that has waited nearly a century just for you. And if destiny decides to favor you, if you, by some miracle, find the right one, you may discover that this tiny coin, this small circle of metal, carries the power to rewrite your entire future in a single, breathtaking moment. Next up, let your heart slow down for a moment, because what you are about to hear might push your emotions, your imagination, and your expectations into a completely different world. The 1953 Lincoln wheat penny may look simple, familiar, even ordinary at first glance, but behind that calm copper face lives a story so shocking, so destiny-charged, so unbelievably powerful that collectors have spent years hunting this coin like it carries the heartbeat of a miracle. And in many ways, it does. Because the 1953 penny isn't just a cent. It is a sleeping giant. A treasure disguised as pocket change. A coin capable of detonating explosive value when found in the right condition, with the right shine, the right color, the right spark of perfection that transforms metal into a masterpiece. Imagine it, one small penny minted in a year when America was rebuilding dreams, strengthening families, and stepping into a new age of hope and prosperity. The 1953 penny traveled through hands that believed in possibility, through pockets filled with effort, through lives that were rising from the struggles of earlier decades. And today, surviving examples of this coin, especially the breathtaking high-grade reds, carry the emotional weight of that era, the warmth of its heart, and the shimmering promise of its future. But the most unbelievable part is this. The 1953 wheat penny, when discovered in the highest grades, has sold for values that stun even the most experienced collectors. We're talking $5, $000, $18, $000, $28, $000, and in ultra-elite, registry-level perfection, over $70,000, pushing towards six-figure territory where only the rarest, most flawless survivors live. But the emotional force of this coin is not just in its monetary value. It is in its mystery, its unpredictability, its ability to sit quietly in a jar or drawer for decades, unnoticed, unseen, unrecognized, until the right moment arrives, when someone finally notices the blazing red luster, the razor-sharp details, the untouched surfaces that scream perfection. And suddenly, a penny that cost 1 cent can become a treasure worth enough to restart a life, clear debts, or even begin a new chapter of prosperity. That is the shocking magic of the 1953 penny. It can turn into a life-changing fortune without warning. Collectors know this. They feel the electricity in their veins when they see one. They know that most 1,953 pennies, millions of them, are common, ordinary, circulated pieces with scratches and wear from everyday life. But the rare ones, the ones that survived untouched in mint sets, coin envelopes, estate boxes, forgotten rolls, or grandfather's deep storage, those are the ones that ignite bidding wars. Those are the ones that make collectors tremble with excitement. And those are the ones that auction houses describe with words like unbelievable, impossible, miracle grade, and once in a generation. Imagine standing at an auction. The room silent. The tension sharp enough to cut. A 1953 red penny in blazing MS-67 condition appears under the bright lights. It looks like a glowing ember. Clean, sharp, radiant, almost surreal in its brilliance. The bidding begins at $5,000, then $10,000, then $15,000. Voices rising, hands trembling, collectors taking deep breaths as the energy climbs. Then $25,000, then $30,000. Finally, $70,000 for a penny, a 1-cent coin. But in that moment, no one sees a penny. They see perfection. They see rarity. They see destiny. And that is the haunting beauty of this coin. The idea that inside any home, any jar, any family box, there might be a 1953 wheat penny waiting to reveal its true nature. Waiting to show that it is not ordinary. Waiting to reveal that it is one of those ultra-rare survivors capable of producing a life-altering moment. People who find one often say the same thing, "It looked like nothing, until I looked closer." And that sentence captures the soul of this coin perfectly. Its power lies not in what it seems, but in what it truly is. But there is another layer of emotional depth here, one many people overlook. The 1953 penny honors the memory of Abraham Lincoln, his courage, his struggle, his sacrifice. His story is carved into the heart of American history, and every wheat penny carries a whisper of his legacy. When you hold a 1953 wheat cent, you are holding more than metal. You're holding a symbol of endurance. A reminder that greatness can rise from hardship. A message that destiny can take unexpected shapes, including the shape of a small copper coin. The collectors who chase this penny are not just searching for value. They're searching for meaning. For rarity. For the thrill of discovering something nearly impossible. And the truth is, the 1953 penny offers all of that. It is a coin with two identities. One common, one unbelievably rare. One ordinary, one life-changing. And the only way to know which one you have is to look closely. Because somewhere out there, maybe in someone's drawer, maybe in your home, an ultra-red, perfect 1953 penny might still be hiding. Waiting for the moment it is finally seen. Waiting for someone to unlock its potential. Waiting to explode into a value so shocking, so overwhelming, that it can change the course of a life. And if destiny chooses you, if you find one of those miracle survivors, you will discover the truth so many have learned before. Sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest fortune, and sometimes the thing that seems worthless at first glance holds the power to transform everything. Next up, take a breath, because the coin you're about to discover carries an emotional weight, a historical heartbeat, and a shocking power that reaches far beyond its quiet copper surface. The 1946 Lincoln wheat penny is not just an old cent. It is a survivor of a world that was healing, rebuilding, and rising again after one of the most turbulent chapters in human history. This coin holds the echoes of returning soldiers, the relief of families reunited, and the hope of a generation determined to rebuild everything from the ground up. And today, nearly 8 decades later, this seemingly simple penny has become a silent carrier of unimaginable value, shocking collectors with auction prices that have transformed ordinary people into treasure holders without even realizing the fortune sitting in their own drawers. Because here's where the story becomes unbelievable. While the 1946 penny is common in low grades, the rarest high-grade survivors, those blazing red, untouched, perfectly preserved pieces that look as if they were minted seconds ago, have exploded at auctions with values reaching $5,000, $12,000, $000, $18,000, even over $40,000. And in impossible ultra-gem registry levels, some estimates push toward $75,000 and beyond. Yes, a penny worth 1 cent suddenly rising into the realm of wealth that can rewrite someone's entire future. But the secret behind this explosive value lies in something deeper than numbers, deeper than rarity. It's in the emotional story carved into the metal of this 1946 wheat cent. Imagine it, the war had just ended. Families were healing. Hope was beginning to return. American factories shifted from producing weapons to producing dreams again. And in that moment of global recovery, millions of 1946 pennies were minted. Coins that passed through the hands of workers rebuilding the nation, mothers trying to restore their homes, children dreaming of a better world. These pennies were symbols of survival, of second chances, of new beginnings. And today, the rarest survivors from that year represent more than just monetary value. They represent the power of endurance, the power of hope, the power of time to transform something so ordinary into something worth fighting for. Collectors understand this deeply. When they see a high-grade 1946 penny with full red luster, sharp details, and untouched surfaces, they don't see a coin, they see a miracle. They see history frozen in perfection. They see the almost impossible chance that a coin used during one of the busiest, most transitional periods in American history somehow avoided scratches, avoided wear, avoided life itself. And that unbelievable preservation is what sparks auction floors into fire. Picture this scene, an auction hall, silent except for the sound of a coin case being opened under bright lights. The audience leans forward. A 1946 Lincoln wheat penny in MS 67 plus red appears on display, glowing like a polished ember, untouched by time. The bidding begins at $3,000, then leaps to $5,000. Then $9,000. Voices tighten. Heartbeats quicken. The tension climbs higher as collectors push their limits. $15,000. $22,000. $30,000. And then, $40,000, and in some extraordinary cases, values push far beyond as wealthy collectors chase registry perfection. All for a penny, a 1-cent coin with a story deeper than its value, a meaning greater than its metal. But the emotional power of the 1946 penny goes beyond auctions and beyond collectors. It goes into homes, into memories, into forgotten drawers where these coins may still be hiding. You may be holding one right now without knowing its true worth. Maybe it came from a family member's pocket long ago. Maybe it sat in a jar for decades. Maybe it was passed down through generations without anyone realizing that inside that jar sits a treasure. Because some of the most valuable 1946 pennies ever discovered were not found by experts. They were found by ordinary people simply paying attention, simply looking a little closer at what they already had. And here's the most shocking part. The 1946 penny has multiple varieties and strikes that can increase its value dramatically. Some mint state errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and high-grade red survivors have reached values collectors once believed impossible. A tiny minting accident, an unexpected flaw, or an extraordinarily preserved surface can transform this coin from a simple cent into a jaw-dropping payday worth thousands, tens of thousands, and even the kind of six-figure dreams that make people shake with disbelief. But what makes the 1946 penny truly unforgettable is not just its potential wealth, it's the destiny woven into it. Every scratch it avoided, every pocket it missed, every moment it survived untouched led it to this present moment, waiting to reveal itself to the right person at the right time. And that person could be anyone. It could be someone who thinks they have nothing valuable. Someone who believes treasure only exists for others. Someone who never imagined that a single penny could hold the power to change their life. This coin teaches a breathtaking truth. Value sometimes hides in the quietest places. Not in gold bars, not in jewels, not in massive collections. But in the smallest circle of copper sitting unnoticed, waiting for its story to finally be heard. That is the emotional thunder inside the 1946 penny, the idea that you could be one discovery away from a moment that changes everything. A discovery that brings tears of disbelief. A discovery that turns an ordinary day into the most unforgettable day of your life. So the next time you see a 1946 wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Don't rush past it. Don't assume it's just another old coin. Look at it carefully. Examine its shine, its color, its edges, its details. Because if destiny is on your side, if you find one of those rare, impossible, untouched, blazing red survivors, you might be holding a silent miracle worth $10, $000, $40, $000, or even more, a miracle capable of changing your path, your future, and your fortune in one single breathtaking moment. Next up, brace your heart, steady your breath, and allow the weight of destiny to settle into your hands, because the 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny carries a truth so shocking, so emotionally charged, so wildly unexpected that it has left collectors speechless and ordinary people trembling with disbelief. This is not just an old penny. This is a symbol of the final heartbeat of an era. A farewell to the legendary wheat design that shaped generations. A coin minted in a year glowing with hope, progress, and transformation, yet hiding inside its metal the kind of unimaginable value that can ignite bidding wars, rewrite fortunes, and send shockwaves through anyone lucky enough to discover a perfect survivor. And today, this seemingly ordinary penny has risen into a realm of explosive worth, where a 1-cent coin can command thousands, tens of thousands, even jaw-dropping, life-shifting values over $50,000 in the rarest, most flawless states. Because the truth is this: while millions of 1957 pennies were minted, almost all were spent, scratched, worn, forgotten, tossed into jars, passed through hands that never imagined these coins would one day become priceless artifacts. They lived ordinary lives. They paid for gum, bread, bus rides, dreams. They traveled through pockets of students, workers, dreamers, soldiers returning home, families stepping into a new era of American life. And today, only a microscopic fraction survived untouched, those miracle coins shielded from time itself, preserved with fire-bright red luster, razor-sharp details, flawless surfaces, and an aura that makes collectors stop breathing for a moment when they see one. Those are the treasures worth $3,000, $7,000, $15,000, even over $30,000, and in registry-level perfection, values that have reached $40,000 to $60,000, shocking even the most seasoned experts. But the emotional power of the 1957 penny goes deeper than numbers. It goes into the soul of its design, the legacy of Lincoln, and the final era of the wheat ears that framed his portrait for half a century. When people hold a 1957 penny, they are holding the last full breath of a design that witnessed world wars, economic struggles, and the rise of a nation. They are holding a coin that sits on the edge between history and modernity, one foot in the past, the other reaching toward a new era that would soon replace the wheat reverse with a memorial design. And because of this, the 1957 penny carries emotional thunder. It is the last chapter of a story that began in 1909, representing endurance, struggle, strength, and hope. Collectors feel this deeply. They chase the brightest, cleanest, most perfect 1957 pennies with a kind of passion that feels almost spiritual. When an MS-67 or MS-67 Plus Red appears on an auction floor, everything changes. The room falls silent. Collectors lean forward. Hands grip bidding paddles tightly. Because they know the truth. The difference between an ordinary 1957 penny worth a few cents and a miracle-grade survivor worth tens of thousands of dollars often lies in the smallest details. One tiny scratch, one barely visible mark, one faint imperfection that separates the common from the life-changing. Imagine this moment vividly. An ultra-gem 1957 RD penny appears under the bright auction lights. The red luster glows like a burning sunrise. The steps of the Lincoln Memorial, though not yet introduced on the penny, are reflected in the razor-sharp details of Lincoln's face. The fields are smooth as glass. The edges look carved with precision beyond human understanding. The bidding starts at $4,000, then $6,000, then $9,000. The air fills with tension. Collectors shift forward, their breathing shallow, their hearts pounding with a desire to own a piece of impossible perfection. $12,000, $18,000, $25,000, and then $40,000, $55,000. Numbers rising like lightning strikes as the coin climbs into a realm of value that leaves the room in stunned silence. The hammer falls, and a single penny, once worth 1 cent, leaves the stage with a price rivaling luxury cars, college tuition, even homes. And here's the most astonishing part. Coins of this caliber have been found in places no one ever expected. Old bank rolls sealed for decades. Mint-wrapped sets forgotten in drawers. Family collections untouched since the 1950s. Jars filled with change that survived entire generations. Because while the rarest grades are nearly impossible to find, they are not mythical, they are real. They exist. And they are discovered by people who simply take the time to look closely. to examine their coins, to pay attention to the small details that most people ignore. And the 1957 penny has another twist: errors and varieties that can multiply its value dramatically. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, double dies, and other minting mistakes have turned this coin into a playground of unpredictable surprises. Some of these errors, when found in high grade, sell for hundreds, thousands, and in extremely rare cases, pushing into the five-figure range, turning an already valuable coin into a shocking treasure. But beyond the value, beyond the rarity, beyond the auction lights and collector wars, the 1957 penny carries something deeper: the emotional reminder that fortune can hide in the simplest places. That wealth does not always come in grand forms. That sometimes life's most powerful miracles are disguised as ordinary objects. A forgotten penny. A small piece of copper. A coin you might have overlooked 1,000 times. And yet, inside that tiny circle of metal may be the power to change your destiny without warning. So if you ever find a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny, don't dismiss it, don't rush past it, and don't assume it's worthless. Look closer. Feel the history. Examine the shine, the color, the texture. Because if destiny chooses you, if you discover one of those breathtaking, flawless survivors, you may be holding a treasure capable of rewriting your story with a value so shocking, so overwhelming, so life-changing that it feels like something out of a dream.